YouTube.
Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead. Okay, everybody go ahead and stand. Clean up, Bill.
Good morning, everyone. This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County.
Muy buenos días a todos. Esta es su comparecencia inicial ante el Tribunal de Primera Instancia del Condado de Clayton.
My name is Brad Gardner, and I'm a judge in this court.
Mi nombre es Brad Gardner y yo soy un juez en este tribunal.
I am not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case.
Yo no estoy acá para tener un juicio en su caso o para aceptar una declaración a cargos.
I am here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you,
Yo estoy acá para informarles cuáles son los cargos que se les han imputado,
to advise you of certain rights,
para decirles cuáles son sus derechos,
to set bail on those offenses that I'm authorized to set bail,
para otorgarle fianza en aquellos delitos que se me permite otorgarle fianza,
to schedule a preliminary hearing,
para programar una audiencia preliminar
and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney.
y para determinar si usted va a necesitar la asistencia de un abogado.
You have the right to remain silent and say nothing.
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio y no decir nada,
But should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you.
pero si usted renuncia a este derecho, cualquier cosa que usted diga durante este proceso podría ser usado en su contra.
So please don't discuss the facts of your case.
O sea que por favor no hable de las circunstancias o de los hechos en su caso.
During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights:
Durante este y todos los procesos siguientes, usted tiene los siguientes derechos.
the right to the presumption of innocence,
El derecho a la presunción de inocencia,
the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors,
el derecho de que se le formule una acusación por el gran jurado para la mayoría de los delitos graves o que se le haga una acusación para los delitos menores.
the right to a speedy and public trial by jury,
El derecho de tener un juicio público, rápido y por jurado.
the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you,
El derecho de ver, escuchar y contrainterrogar a los testigos que sean citados a testificar en su contra.
the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf,
El derecho de obligar a testigos a que vengan a testificar a su favor.
the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense,
El derecho de testificar a su favor o presentar pruebas para que sean usadas en su defensa.
the right to have an attorney represent you.
El derecho de tener un abogado para que lo represente.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Si usted no puede contratarse un abogado, uno le podría ser nombrado si usted califica.
Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail.
A alguno de ustedes se le va a permitir que usted pague una fianza sin restricción para dejarlo salir de la cárcel.
These bonds may be posted by cash, commercial, or property.
Estas fianzas pueden ser pagadas en efectivo, comercial o usando una propiedad.
If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond and fees in cash to the sheriff's office.
Si usted paga su fianza en efectivo, alguien tiene que pagar la cantidad total de su fianza más las tarifas adicionales en la comisaría.
The sheriff's office will hold the cash and return it at the end of the case.
La comisaría se quedaría con el dinero en efectivo y se lo reembolsaría al final de su caso.
If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will deliver, If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will have to pay a fee to the company for their service.
Si usted usa una compañía de fianzas, alguien tendría que pagarle las tarifas a esta compañía por sus servicios.
The fee will not be returned.
Pero esta tarifa no le sería reembolsada.
I don't know what fee will be charged, but it is usually based upon a percentage of the bond.
Yo no sé cuál sería la tarifa que le cobrarían, pero generalmente está basado en un porcentaje de la fianza.
Finally, if you use property to post a bond, the property would need to have a net equity at least 3 times the total bond amount.
Finalmente, si usted usa una propiedad para pagar la fianza, la propiedad tendría que tener un capital neto que sea por lo menos 3 veces la cantidad total de su fianza.
Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places.
Algunos de ustedes van a tener condiciones especiales en su fianza donde se le prohíbe ponerse en contacto con ciertas personas o de que vayan a ciertos lugares.
You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail.
También se le va a prohibir que se ponga en contacto con las víctimas mientras usted esté encarcelado.
If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you can remain in jail until your trial.
Si usted no cumple la orden de la corte, su fianza sería revocada y usted podría permanecer encarcelado hasta el final de su juicio.
You could also receive additional felony charges.
Y también se le podrían imputar cargos adicionales por delitos graves.
It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond.
Es importante saber que si una persona está nombrada como la víctima en su caso, a esa persona no se le va a permitir pagar la fianza por usted.
Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail.
Algunos de ustedes se le acusa de algunos delitos por los cuales a este juez no se le permite por ley otorgarle fianza.
In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and you will be informed of that date.
En ese caso, una audiencia para pedir fianza va a ser programada con un juez del Tribunal Superior del Condado de Clayton y a usted se le va a informar de cuándo sería esa fecha.
If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time.
Si actualmente usted está bajo libertad condicional, a este juez no se le permite otorgarle fianza en estos momentos.
Whether bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest.
Si la fianza es apropiada en su caso, sería tomada en consideración nuevamente después que el agente de libertad condicional haya tenido la oportunidad de tomar en cuenta este nuevo arresto.
The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you.
El propósito de la audiencia preliminar es determinar si hay suficientes pruebas para sustentar las alegaciones en su contra.
The standard at this stage is very low.
Y los estándares en esta etapa son muy bajos.
A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred.
Para que un juez determine si un cargo procede en esta etapa, solamente tiene que determinar que existe la posibilidad de que el delito fue cometido.
Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing.
Todos tienen la habilidad de renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar.
However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing.
Sin embargo, si usted debe de hablar con un abogado primero, si usted no está seguro si es apropiado renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar.
If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived.
Si usted paga su fianza, su audiencia preliminar se cancela automáticamente.
You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date.
Y usted va a recibir una notificación en la dirección que usted dé de cuándo va a ser su corte.
Finally, I need everyone to raise your right hand.
Finalmente, necesito que todos levanten su mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm that any statements you make during this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
¿Jura usted y afirma que cualquier declaración que usted dé durante este proceso va a ser la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad, lo juro ante Dios?
Okay, we're gonna start with Ms. Romero, and then we're gonna come to Mr. Pickney. But before we get started, there's a person that is identified on my screen as A. Glass. Would you please identify yourself?
Yeah, that's my client's mother, Your Honor.
Okay,
Alicia
this
Glass.
is being broadcast live on
Okay.
On YouTube.
Okay.
What I'll allow her to stay on, but I'm going to ask her to mute her microphone.
Okay. The only reason why I had her on here, just in case I need her as a witness, Your Honor, but we can also have her, well, you already said she can stay up and mute. I apologize for that, Your
All
Honor.
right. Nope, no problem. Thank you, ma'am. Miss Romero, can you hear and understand the interpreter?
Señora Romero, ¿puede usted escuchar y entender al intérprete?
Sí.
Yes.
Ma'am, you've been charged with 1 count of battery and 1 count of cruelty to children in the first degree.
Señora, a usted se le acusa de un cargo de agresión corporal y de crueldad infantil en el primer grado.
I'm going to set the bond at $9,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Le voy a fijar su fianza a $9,000. ¿Cree usted que va a poder pagar su fianza, señora?
No lo sé. No lo sé.
No.
Ma'am, how old is your child?
Señora, ¿qué edad tiene su hijo o hija?
15 años.
¿Cuánto?
15 años.
15 years old.
Are you the only caregiver for your child?
¿Es usted la única persona que cuida de su hijo o hija?
Está a cargo mío. Está a cargo mío.
He's under my care.
Are you the only one?
¿Es usted la única persona?
Tengo a mi esposo, pero no es papá de ella.
I have my husband, but that is not her dad.
Is your child currently in the care of your husband?
Actualmente, ¿su hija está bajo el cuidado de su esposo?
La cuidamos los dos. Está en la casa de nosotros.
The two of us take care of her. She's in our home.
Okay, ma'am, I have a concern.
Señora, yo tengo una preocupación.
Sí.
Yes.
My concern primarily is I don't understand why this wasn't referred to juvenile court.
Mi preocupación primero es que yo no sé por qué esto no fue referido al Tribunal de Menores.
And that's not your fault.
Y esa no es su culpa.
As a judge, I have a duty to protect the citizens of the county.
Como juez que soy, mi trabajo es proteger a los ciudadanos de este condado.
And that includes your child, and that includes you also.
Y eso incluye a su hija y también la incluye a usted.
The way that this warrant is written up, it appears to be at a minimum corporal punishment.
De la manera como escribieron esta orden de arresto, lo que denota es que por lo menos fue, se le dieron golpes corporales.
As a parent, you have a right to discipline your child.
Y como madre, usted tiene el derecho de disciplinar a su hija.
You do not have the right to abuse your child.
Pero usted no tenía el derecho de abusar a su hija.
And that's a determination that is very difficult to make at this stage.
Y esta es una determinación que es muy difícil de hacer en esta etapa.
I'm going to set a $3,000 bond on the battery and a $2,000 bond on the cruelty to children in the first degree.
Yo le voy a fijar la fianza por el cargo de agresión corporal a $3,000 y por el cargo de crueldad infantil se la voy a fijar a $2,000.
I'm going to place a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Emily Mejia Romero.
Y va a tener una orden en su fianza que dice que usted tiene que mantenerse alejada de Emily Mejia Romero.
I'm doing that out of an abundance of caution.
Y estoy haciendo esto solamente para tener cuidado.
but I believe this case should be transferred to juvenile court.
Pero yo creo que este caso debe ser transferido al Tribunal de Menores.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning.
Su audiencia preliminar va a estar fija para el día 22 de junio a las 8:30 de la mañana.
That date will get waived upon your bonding out,
Y esta audiencia se cancela si usted paga su fianza.
and you will get a new court date in the mail.
Y usted recibiría un nuevo citatorio por correo.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
¿Le gustaría a usted que yo vea si usted califica para nombrarle un abogado?
Okay. Are you currently working, ma'am?
¿Está usted trabajando actualmente, señora? Yes.
How much do you make per hour or per month?
¿Cuánto gana usted por hora o por mes?
Estoy ganando a 15.85 por hora.
I'm making $15.85 an hour.
Okay, you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Ok, señora, usted sí califica y yo le voy a nombrar un abogado para que la represente.
Pregunta,
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Señora,
¿a dónde va a estar Emily mientras se lleva este proceso?
where is Emily going to stay while this process takes place?
Well, I cannot remove her from the home because you are the accused and she's the victim. And that's why I was saying this should be referred to juvenile court. I don't have anything before me where I can make an assessment as to whether you are an abusive mother or whether this was just an incident where the police got called because of whatever. I can't make that determination. So I only can make broad decisions. I can't make fine, detailed decisions.
El asunto es que yo no la puedo a ella sacar de la casa por el hecho de que se supone que usted fue la persona que la abusó y ella es la víctima. Pero esta es la razón por la que yo pienso que esto debió haber sido transferido al Tribunal de Menores, porque eso es muy difícil de decidir en esta etapa, si realmente usted la abusó a ella o no.
I don't know if she was an unruly child or if she was the best child ever.
Yo no sé si ella era una niña desobediente o ella era la mejor niña del mundo.
Yo le pido, de favor, que chequen el récord de Emily. Emily ha estado a punto de entrar a la juvenil por llevar armas a la escuela.
Dame un segundito, señora. I would like for you to check Emily's record.
I can't. That's what I'm saying. I can't.
Ese es el asunto, que yo no tengo acceso a ello. Yo no lo puedo checar.
Emily en este momento está con mi hija mayor.
Emily at this time is with my oldest daughter.
Ella se puede quedar en la casa de mi hija mayor.
And she could stay my oldest daughter's home.
Emily tiene a su papá cerca, pero hay una denuncia en Child Support porque él nunca se ha querido hacer cargo de ella.
And Emily, her dad is close by, but he has a child support order because he has never been able to take care of her.
Okay, on the short term, ma'am, it's probably better for her to stay with your daughter.
Por poco tiempo, señora, yo creo que sería mejor si ella se quedara con su hija.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Ms. Bermudez, you buffered. Could you repeat that? I didn't hear anything you said. It buffered.
Oh, I just repeated what you said, Judge. That for now will be best if she stays with her daughter.
In the future, ma'am, if your daughter is acting in a manner that you believe is unruly, it's probably best to contact juvenile court.
Señora, y en el futuro, si su hija se está comportando de una manera que usted cree que es desobediente, es mejor si usted se pone en contacto con el Tribunal de Menores.
Any other questions, ma'am?
¿Alguna otra pregunta, señora?
¿Cuánto es la cantidad de mi fianza?
Repita.
¿Cuánto fue la cantidad de mi fianza?
How much is my bond?
It's now a total of $5,000.
Ahora es un total de $5,000.
Ok,
Okay.
sí lo puedo pagar.
Yes, I can pay.
Okay, you're free to go back, ma'am.
Puede retirarse, señora.
Gracias.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's bring up Mr. Pinckney. Ms. Bermudez, I believe that is all. Thank you for your services. You are free to go.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
I can't stand up.
And just for the record, Your Honor, I'm co-counsel in this case, Attorney Akil Secret's lead counsel.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Pinckney,
Yes, sir.
let me bring you up to speed. Yesterday, when you were placed on my calendar, you were placed on the calendar as what's called an add-on, which means you were not originally set for my calendar. But because you came in at a time and I didn't have a lot of people on the calendar, they added you to the calendar. Mr. Granville apparently called to get placed on the calendar for that day. But because you were not on the official calendar, he was told that you were not on the calendar. And so he contacted the judge's chambers. And the fact that he was not on the calendar, it was not a fault of yours and it wasn't a fault of Mr. Granville. So I placed you back on this calendar so that you can have this hearing with your lawyer because you've taken advantage of that and you have the right to be represented by the lawyer. So I'm going to speak to Mr. Granville today, okay? Okay, Mr. Granville.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pinckney is charged with robbery by sudden snatching. Yesterday, I denied his bond, and I denied his bond for two reasons. One was because of the indicted case that appeared before Judge Mason,
Yes, sir.
and I was unsure as to, from a jurisdictional standpoint, whether I should even have the case. The second issue that concerned me was that he had the warrant had been pending since 2018, and he was arrested in the city of Atlanta on a separate charge, and then that's how we got jurisdiction.
Yes, sir.
His record is not that extensive.
No.
So that's not going to be a concern of mine.
Okay.
I did check last night, and it appears that the co-defendant in this case is now out on bond.
Yes, sir.
So I'll hear from you
Okay.
as it relates to your client and what you think a reasonable bond should be.
Okay. Do you need me to address any of the underlying charges that he's facing in Fulton County, or we can just go straight to the bond factors?
Well, I was concerned about that.
Yes.
And if you have information about that,
I
I'd love
do.
to hear it.
I
Okay.
do. And as you know, obviously he's here, he did get bond. This is a case where some officers were behind him. My client pulled into a gas station. He went into the convenience store. He came out, it was about maybe 4 cars of officers there. And they were acting extremely aggressive with him. He was in his car. They pulled his weapons. My client panicked. He wasn't aware of the warrant here. So they were actually executing this, the warrant, not executed, but they ran this place when he was driving, this warrant came up. It just so happens the gas station was in, his father was murdered in 20 years ago. And at this time, all the things was going on in the media about the police shooting. So my client panicked because he was scared, they were aggressive, guns out. He drove off, and actually as he drove off, they shot his car up like 10 times. So we are in communication with DA Fonnie Willis in regards to, investigating. They were executing this warrant. I'm not going to call this a petty theft. It was a robbery by snatching. but my client almost was killed. So the judge in that case understood the facts, and we were able to get him a bond. We surrendered him on Sunday. He got a bond on Monday, and he was transferred here because it was a hold. And so the judge in that case understood the facts and circumstances, granted a bond. So here we are today. In regards to the bond factors, actually, let me back up. We were in communication with the U.S. Marshals, and they allowed him because he just had his firstborn child. His daughter was born on April 22nd. So they allowed him to stay out until his daughter was born, and then that's when we surrendered him. So he does have a newborn child. He lives with his mother, his girlfriend, and his daughter. He's been in Georgia for 22 years, graduate of Lovejoy High School. He does have his own company, and that's how he's been taking care of himself. It's a power washing company. He has an LLC that was established back in November of 2020. He has 3 siblings. He's, I believe he is the middle child. And he does have extended family here in Atlanta, Your Honor, grandmother, aunts, cousins, mother, and his father actually is deceased. So we're just requesting that he is placed on, I would ask for a UJR, but I know that's kind of being greedy, but at least a 3,000 bond or something reasonable. He's not a flight risk. In regards to the assault or aggravated assault on police officers, we believe once we get the body cam, it's going to show no officers were even in front of the car. They were all on the side of the car by his door, and he drove off. They shot, and the bullet holes are on the side of his car and the back of his car. It's no, so that's a whole separate issue we're looking into. So we're just requesting my client be released on bond so we could, he can be included in preparing for his defense, not only on this case, but that case there in Fulton County as well, Your Honor.
Okay. How old is your client?
He's 22 years old. And in regards to his priors, this case, and then he has obviously the one pending in Fulton, which is related to this case. And then he had one other matter, traffic ticket that was in the city of McDonough that has been resolved. So in 22 years, really it's this case. And then because they were serving a warrant in Fulton County related to this. So he's pretty upstanding citizen, considering his age and what we see in the community with others his age. They're not in college, but he does have his own business that he's working.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'll set a $6,000 bond.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a special condition on the bond to stay away from a Nandy Irving.
Okay.
The alleged victim in this case, and I know he probably doesn't know her, but I'm going to place that on this just in case there is some.
You said it was an Irvin or Irwin?
IRVING.
Oh, ING, got you. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. It was good to see you. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. His preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 23rd.
I think I saw that on the docket. It's going to be waived now with the bond. Is that correct, Your Honor?
Yes, it'll get waived upon his bonding out, and the case will get transferred. Actually, it'll probably, well, it should go to Judge Mason.
Okay.
Because that other case is pending. And like I said, it's been pending since October 2019.
Okay. So I'm going to be in contact with the district attorney, see if we can get that case resolved too, so we can just be proactive with these cases.
Okay, and the co-defendant's lawyer in that case is a person by the name of David Cheng, CHENG.
Okay. And who's the co-defendant's name, Your Honor?
Justin Garman.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right. See you out in the leaks one day, sir.
I know I don't get invited to all of those big functions that you hold.
I'm gonna invite you one. Chris Tucker's having a golf tournament in August if you want to go.
I'll be there.
Okay, all right, Your
Have a
Honor.
good day. You're free to go back, Mr. Pinckney.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Okay, are you Miss Bird?
Yes, sir.
Felicia Bird.
Ma'am, you've been charged with one count of theft by shoplifting. The bond has been automatically set at $2,000.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I have the cash on me now.
Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Boyd Rika.
Yes,
Rika, I'm sorry.
sir.
Okay, ma'am, you're charged with one count of battery. The bond is going to be set at $5,000. There's also going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from a Jashay Chanel Richardson. Do you believe you can post this bond?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you understand the stay away provision?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So does that mean that I cannot go back to work because we work together as well?
It does not mean you cannot go to work. It does mean that you cannot be in close proximity to each other. Where is it that you work?
At UPS in my role.
Okay. Is it possible that you can be placed on separate schedules?
It is. It is very possible. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's what I would suggest that you suggest of your supervisor, that you're
Okay.
placed on a separate schedule. Did this fight happen at work?
It wasn't, honestly, it wasn't even a fight. It was just a big old misunderstanding, a couple of pushes and hits, and it wasn't nothing major. But the argument started at work, but it finished at the house.
Okay.
But we was outside, so nobody inside the building know anything about it.
Okay. So you're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
So how much is the bond?
$5,000.
Okay.
I would suggest that you contact the bonding companies here, because each bonding company or job literally is just to get people out of jail.
Mhm.
So they will work with you.
Okay.
Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Mhm.
Okay, you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, Ms. Compton.
Kenny. Kenny.
What's your name?
Kenny. Elena Kenny.
Miss Cannon, ma'am, you've been charged with one count of driving a vehicle without a valid license. I do not have your warrant. So I'm gonna have to get that from the sheriff's department. Your bond is gonna be set at $1,000.
Thank you.
This is an offense that is automatically set by schedule. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Did you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Now, Ms. Compton.
Okay, ma'am, you've been charged with one count of driving a vehicle on a divided highway. I don't have the warrant for you either, but this is set by schedule at $500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
You're also going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Davis, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Davis, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I've set the bond at $2,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Possibly.
Okay,
I don't personally have it, but maybe someone else can for me.
okay. I'm placing a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Roderick Todd. Do you understand that?
Yes, I actually, okay,
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
sure.
I'm not trying to like stuff the lawyer down your throat.
No, you can, I mean, if I can get one, then I would like it. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to find you qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No,
Okay, you're free to go back.
Your Honor, Francis.
Ms. Francis, you've been charged with 1 count of DUI, alcohol, less safe, 1 count of reckless driving, and 1 count of passing on the wrong side of the road. I've set a total bond at $7,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yeah.
You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. The date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yeah, you think you'll be able to break down the, bond? You said it was 7,000?
So it's $5,000 for the DUI less safe, $1,500 for the reckless driving, and $500 for the improper passing on the wrong side of the road. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna find you qualified for the appointment of a lawyer. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You have any other questions for me?
No, thank you.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Can I get this?
Yes, go ahead. Ms. Johnson.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, you're charged with 1 count of concealing the death of another. This is a felony offense. I am unable to set bond at this time because there's a showing that you're on probation. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. And you're also gonna have a bond hearing date set for June 25th at 8:30 in the morning. And currently, both of those are being held by Zoom. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sure.
Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Ms. Jones?
Ma'am, you're charged with 3 driving-related offenses: improper lane change, driving on a suspended license, and having a child in the car that's not properly restrained. Each of these bonds are set by schedule, which means they're automatically set. It's going to be a total of $2,500, but there will be a little bit added to it because there are fines and fees that the Sheriff's Department has to add. Do you believe you can post this bond?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
How much is my bond again?
Okay. $500 for the improper lane change, $1,500 for the driving on the suspended license, and $500 for the improper or having a child in the vehicle not restrained.
Okay,
So that's $2,500.
okay.
Okay, you're free to go back, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Matthews?
Ma'am, you're charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession of approximately says 9 individually vacuum sealed packages containing marijuana. I've set the bond at $20,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, yes, I don't know.
Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for May 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, did you say yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you're free to go back.
Ms. Montague?
Montague.
Mattia. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Montague.
Montague, Your Honor.
No problem. Now you understand what judges go through when they have to call a calendar.
I do, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery. I've set the bond at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes.
You're going to have a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from a Robert Grant. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but that's my apartment complex that he was in arguing with me.
Okay.
He don't stay there.
Well, that's not going to stop you from going back to your apartment if he doesn't stay there.
Right. But he's the one that be around, you know, you say I have to stay away, but that's where I live, over that way, where he be at.
Does he live in the apartment complex?
No.
So
he be at my neighbor's house.
So, ma'am, stay away from him. There's a person on this calendar today that I gave a stay away provision to who didn't stay away, and they're going to be held in jail without bond.
Right.
So all you have to do,
Just avoid it.
yeah, there you go. Don't say anything. Don't look at him. Don't flip the bird to him. No, he doesn't exist. Okay.
Okay.
That keeps you out of jail.
Right.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning, but that date is going to get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. How much do you make per hour?
Nothing.
Okay,
Not much of nothing. I'm helping out at a daycare.
okay. So because I have to write it down on the form,
Mhm.
just tell me what you,
Say 9.
okay. So you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Your
welcome.
Honor, Ms. Norris.
Give me 1 second, Ms. Norris.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of battery and 1 count of cruelty to children in the 2nd degree. I've set a total bond of $8,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
I can't afford that much,
How old is the juvenile?
if, 16.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, ma'am, I am going to give you a total bond of $5,000.
Yes, sir.
3,000 on the battery, 2,000 on the cruelty to children in the 2nd degree.
Yes, sir.
Now, cruelty to children in the 2nd degree is a felony offense. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. That
Yes,
date
sir.
will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date mailed. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna find that you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. And just like I told the other lady at the beginning of the hearing, if you believe that the child is being unruly, you need to contact juvenile court. As you can see, this is not the old days
Yes.
where people just, turn their back and go the other way. All right. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Ms. Pope.
Okay. Ms. Pope, you're charged with 1 count of terroristic threats or acts. I've set the bond at $4,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from a Quanisha Jackson. Do you understand that?
Yes, I have charges filed against her for touching on my 13-year-old. So how do I go about that?
Give me 1 second and I'll come back to that because we're going to have to unpack that question. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, you said that you have charges pending against her. Can you explain?
When
what
when she called the police on me, I had already called Forest Park and told them that my son had woke me up out of my sleep, saying that she was touching on him. So they said I had to go down to Forest Park and do a police report. By the time I got back in town, I wasn't able to go to Forest Park. They had already, when I got back in town, they said they had a warrant. Clayton County had a warrant for my arrest.
So, just so you know that the allegations in the warrant are that you threatened her while pointing a handgun at her. Okay, so I don't know the timeline, the series of events. But what I tell people all the time is that sometimes you forewarn people. So let's say that she's touching your child and you tell her, I'm about to go down and take charges out on you. So now you have forewarned her. It's like if you and I are in a fight and I tell you, I'm about to swing my right fist. I'm about to swing my left fist. I'm about to swing my right fist. I'm telling you what I'm going to do so you can prepare yourself against it. I don't know if that's the case here or not, but you definitely need to speak to your lawyer about it. And you definitely need to make sure you have the documentation in place and the timeline in place about when you call. Okay?
And already, he already been talking to an officer about her touching on him anyway.
Okay, so I'm just saying, it sounded like what you're telling me is that you think she made these allegations because you were going to call the police on her. So that's what I'm saying about talking to your lawyer
Right,
about the timeline, okay?
right.
Any other questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Parker?
Okay.
Ma'am, you've been charged with one count of entering an automobile and one count of theft by taking. Your total bond is going to be set at $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
No.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning because the entering of an automobile is a felony. That hearing is going to be held by Zoom. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Ms. Senegal?
Hey,
Hello.
good morning, ma'am. You're charged with one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, one count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and one count of possession of drug-related objects. You're going to have a total bond set at $8,000. You believe you can post that bond?
Not sure, but I'm gonna try.
Okay. Because the drug charge is a felony offense, you're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
You said the bond was 8,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was my only question.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Taylor McKeon?
Okay, ma'am, you're charged with one count of criminal trespass and one count of simple battery. I've set a total bond at $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? You're going to have a stay away provision on the bond, stay away from a Janicia Martin. Do you understand that? Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay, I'm going to find that you do qualify, ma'am. Do you have any questions of me?
No, you said about me staying away from her. Incident that happened was at my house. So she willingly actually left too. She said she wasn't coming back or whatever. So I am allowed to go back to my house, correct?
The stay away provision relates to her.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Taylor McCrell. Don't close my door.
Okay, ma'am, you're a carryover from yesterday. You're charged with simple battery. I'm gonna set your bond at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Not sure.
Okay. There's gonna be a stay away provision on your bond, stay away from Kevin Clark. Do you understand that? Your preliminary hearing date is gonna be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, please.
Okay, you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Ms. Wilcox.
Ms. Wilcox, you're charged with 1 count of reckless conduct and 1 count of pointing a gun at another. I've set a total bond at $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
I don't have a job right now, but is it possible to like lower it maybe a little, like 300? I know I have that saved up much, but I don't have any other way of paying.
I'll tell you my concern. The allegation here is that you pointed a gun at another person.
Yes, the person was banging on they seen it on the camera as well, because I'm the one that called the police. The person was banging on the hotel room window that I was in, trying to kick it in. She pulled up to where I was at, which I take responsibility for my actions, but just, I know I won't be able to pay that, and I have a child to get back to. And I can borrow like another couple, like 200 from a friend, but that's about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna set a total bond at $3,500.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm gonna find you qualified, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any other questions for me?
No, sir.
All right, you're free to go back.
Is that for the one inside, Your Honor?
Okay, thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too, sir.
All right, you're ready for the men's side.
Sure, right here.
You, Mr. Benton.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Benton, I cannot set bond on these charges at this hearing. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. You're going to also have a bond hearing date set for June 25th at 8:30 in the morning. Currently, both of those hearings are being held by Zoom. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You're gonna hire your own lawyer?
No.
You're not gonna do anything? You're gonna represent yourself? Okay. You got any questions for me? You said no? Okay, you're free to go back, sir.
Right here.
Okay. Deputy, would you do me a favor and turn your radio down a little bit?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bivens, sir, you're charged with 1 count of battery. The bond is going to be set at $5,000. There's going to be a stay away provision set on the bond to stay away from a Brittany Owens. Do you believe you can pay the $5,000? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you understand the stay away provision?
Yes, sir.
There's going to be a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? All right, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Yeah. Oh, y'all gonna slide down. No.
Tell me your name, sir.
Anthony Brown.
Mr. Brown, you're charged with, hold on, sorry. You are another person I don't have the warrants for. You're charged with family violence battery. I'm gonna set the bond at $5,000. I'm going to put a stay away provision on the bond, but I don't know who to put the stay away provision on yet, but I'm not gonna hold you up while I'm waiting on that paperwork.
Can I just help?
Yes, sir.
It's supposed to be to Vanessa Jenkins. That's who put it on.
Vanessa Jenkins?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna need you to stay away from her while this is pending, okay?
All right. I already don't stay there no more.
Okay. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I got one.
Okay. You got any questions for me, Mr. Brown?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back. Tell me your name, sir, please. Okay, Mr. Collier, you're charged with 1 count of trafficking marijuana and 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. I am not allowed to post a bond on a trafficking marijuana charge, so bond is going to be denied at this stage on that. I'm going to put a $5,000 bond on the other charge as it relates to, I believe it was pills. Yes, the oxycodone pills. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. And you're also going to have a bond hearing date set for June 25th. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You got your own lawyer? Okay. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back.
Davis.
Mr. Davis, you're charged with 1 count of theft by taking. Of a motor vehicle. I'm gonna set the bond at $10,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
I got one question, Your Honor. I was just in Fulton County Jail for the same charge. My sister, she pressed the charge. I got the charge because my sister, I had my sister's vehicle and I didn't show back up in time. She got worried, you know what I'm saying, which was in Clayco. But when they got me in the car, I was in I think like Fulton County. So I already been charged with this charge already. Like I was telling the officer, she was like, they can't deal with what happened in Fulton County. But I just burned out on the same charge. And they brought me over here saying I had a warrant for this charge that I just burned out for in Fulton County. Which is I did 6 months in Fulton County before I even burned it out. On the same charge. Your Honor.
Hold on. When were you arrested in Fulton County?
December the 27th. When I bailed out on this charge, they brought me over here on the same charge.
This warrant was taken out on December 27th.
That's what I'm telling you. That's why they brought me over here. I bonded out. They brought me over here on the same charge. I was arrested in Fulton County, but they deterred. She called from Clayton. I stay in Clayton County. So I guess they just tried to double jeopardy me in some kind of way.
Hold on, Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, you're too young to have all of these interactions with the police department. So the charge in Atlanta was driving on a suspended license and theft by receiving stolen property. It's not the same. It's not the same.
So, but it's a read the same thing, like the same situation.
It's not the same. Do you want me to appoint you a lawyer, Mr. Davis?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to appoint you a lawyer. From what I see on here, it's not the same. But of course, I'm not looking at an incident report. I'm looking at your criminal history and the charges that you were charged with. Your lawyer should be able to pull the documents and see if it's the same event. If it's the same event, the fact that you were in Fulton County when you were driving on a suspended license, that charge could not be handled here in Clayton. It would have to get handled in Fulton County. If they saw that jurisdiction was proper here, they could still transfer you here. But it's something that you should definitely discuss with your lawyer, because again, I'm only looking at half of the information. So I'm going to appoint a lawyer to you. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date currently set for June 23rd. And tell your lawyer what you told me, and the lawyer may be able to work this out.
What you say the bond was?
$10,000. Any other questions?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Farmer. Better farmer. Better farmer, sir.
Mr. Farmer, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I've set the bond at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
No, no, sir, I can't.
Okay, look, the lowest amount I can set your bond where you can go through a bonding company is $1,000.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna set the bond at that. I don't know what was going on at Southern Regional Hospital.
You know, I couldn't get out, refusing help. I was seeking help, sir.
Okay. Would you like me to appoint you a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to appoint you a lawyer. I am going to set a preliminary hearing date for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. Talk to your lawyer about this because this is something that should be able to get resolved.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, sir, not at all.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Sorry, bro.
You, Mr. Gladney?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gladney, you've been charged with 2 counts of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. I am going to set the bond at $11,500. Do you believe you can post that bond? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. It looks like you make a little bit too much for me to be able to appoint you a lawyer. You're going to hire your own lawyer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
No, no, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Robert Grimes.
Mr. Grimes, they've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They've added 20 additional charges to you. So the bond, I'm gonna not set bond on these the same way I did before. Have you been able to meet with the lawyer yet?
I ain't been a meeting with nobody, sir. Nobody has come talk to me. If you get someone to come and talk to me. I don't know what's going on. I'm in jail. They just steady bringing up charges. I ain't never heard of it. How can a person just come from the outside and just start putting charges on? Just keep putting charges on.
So my understanding, Mr. Grimes, is that from the law enforcement standpoint, that there are a number of these charges that they believe that they can prove against you. Now, of course, they have to prove it. Doesn't mean that whatever they say. I have to go back to the last time you and I met, and I'm gonna put all of this on the same day so that all of this stuff can get dealt with at the same time, and it's not
I mean, I'll catch you on 2 of them, but don't sit there and try to put 20, 30 on me, which I didn't do. You know what I'm saying?
well, and that's the thing of my understanding is that
I mean, like I didn't do it, but I'm not gonna set no 30.
I don't want you to make any kind of admissions. What I'm gonna do is like I said, I'm gonna put all of this on the same thing. I'm gonna try to make certain that someone comes to see you and speak to you.
Someone comes on.
Because this is something that either it's going to be shown on camera or not. And that's my understanding, is that the identification from you is coming from somewhere like that. Okay. So do you have any questions of me? I'm going to try to make sure that I get somebody to come and at least speak to you, because you have at least right now about 20 something charges.
No.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Grimes?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I got Hardy coming up now.
Okay.
Hello, John.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hardy. You're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 1 count of public drunkenness, 1 count of discharging a firearm while under the influence, and 1 count of discharging firearm on the property of another. I've set an $11,000 bond total. Do you believe you can post that bond?
No, Your Honor. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a clothing designer. I design clothes, and I have a 2-year-old daughter. I take care of her alone by myself. Most of my money goes to her keeping food, paying rent, and keeping food on the table for us. I recently just got hired to start a new job making $15 an hour, but I haven't got a chance to start work yet. So it's a possibility. If you could please lower it for me, I can get out to go take care of my daughter because I don't really have anyone to take care of.
So, number 1, if you have a daughter to take care of, you should not be anywhere near these types of allegations.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna say one more thing and I'm gonna leave it alone. I don't know why did they charge me with trespassing or criminal trespassing. I was actually at the home of where I live. I've been staying there for 4 months. I don't understand why did they charge me. Like even though I was at my house, so I don't understand why they.
So, there's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from Mayanna Owens. And I'm assuming you were in the home with Miss Owens, correct?
Well, she doesn't stay there, but yes.
Okay. So this is something that a detail that you would have to speak to your lawyer about. The way that it's written here, the allegation at least is that when the police arrived that you were passed out.
I was sleeping on the stairs. Yes, sir.
Okay. So
it was because of my head injury. I was real busy.
Okay.
It wasn't just like, outside my house, just sitting outside. It was because of my head injury.
Okay, so Mr. Owens, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a total bond. Let's see. Of $7,000. So, Mr. Owens, I have 3 children, and that's why I don't act in a manner that will place my children in danger. As a father, it's never a good idea to come before a judge and plead the case of your children, especially for something like this, because it's your duty to make sure that you're not in this kind of position so that you're talking about you got to take care of your daughter, because you wasn't taking care of your daughter if these allegations are true.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I didn't know that I could be charged with public intoxication at my home. I pay rent. I didn't. I thought it was okay for you to be.
Well, you said you were on the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, the stairs. My door's right here. And, the stairs when you come out of the apartment complex, right there.
That's the public.
Okay, I got you.
That's the public. So you're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to find that you qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Well, Target Jackson, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson, you're charged with 1 count of battery, 1 count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, and 1 count of simple battery. I've set a total bond of $10,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to find that you qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Mr. Lang,
Yes, Your Honor.
sir, you're charged with 1 count of obstructing an officer, 1 count of driving a vehicle with an expired tag, 1 count of an improper display of a tag, 1 count of driving with no insurance, and 1 count of disorderly conduct. You're going to have a total bond that's going to be set at, let's see, $4,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Kevin Mayberry.
Mr. Mayberry, sir, you're charged with 1 count of driving under the influence of alcohol, 1 count of reckless driving, 1 count of driving on the wrong side of the road, and 1 count of fleeing from the police officer. And they've charged it as a misdemeanor. You're going to have a total bond set at $9,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
How can you get DUI when I walk?
Okay, so in this scenario, the allegation is that you are operating a 2021 Nissan Sentra. That the vehicle was observed traveling at a high rate of speed on Flat River Road while weaving in and out of his lane of travel. The vehicle was observed traveling over the double solid lines on Flint River Road and began driving on the wrong side of the roadway. These actions place other drivers at risk of being harmed. Upon attempting to stop the vehicle, the driver refused to stop and continued to drive. Upon making contact with the driver, he admitted to drinking an alcoholic beverage. That's the allegation. So make sure you tell your lawyer about it, okay? Hold on. Let's see. It said you admitted to drinking before driving the vehicle and that you admitted to see the police vehicle trying to stop you and you continued to drive. It said you smelled of an alcoholic beverage. Said you agreed to do the field sobriety test and perform poorly. So that's the allegation. Okay, I wasn't there, so I can't, say that you were driving or not driving or any of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
The fleeing, like how I was fleeing, if I came back to the scene. I seen it's a female that was in a separate car. I seen her taking a sobriety test. I walked over there to see what was going on with her.
So there should be dash cam, there should be all kind of stuff that documented the scene, body cams. So this is the discussion that you need to have with your lawyer so your lawyer can defend you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, you're free to go back.
Michael McDaniel.
Mr. McDaniel, you're charged with 1 count of theft by shoplifting is being charged as a misdemeanor. The bond is set by schedule, which means it's automatically set at $2,000. You believe you can post that bond?
Sure.
You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. McDaniel. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go back.
How you doing, Your Honor? Antonio Moore.
Mr. Moore, you're charged with one count of carrying a weapon or a long gun into an unauthorized section of the airport.
Yes, sir.
Your bond is going to be set at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir. I think they told me 3,500 last night. And I posted
There are fees. This is a bond that's automatically set, but for all bonds, the sheriff's department is required by law to add fees to it. I don't have access to that fee schedule. So whenever I set a bond or a bond is already set, they add the fees to it. So what they told you was the final true and correct number.
Okay, all right. So it is 3,500.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my bond is already been posted. So yes, sir, I can make that bond.
Okay. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You said no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Your preliminary hearing date is June 22nd, but that date is going to get waived since you've already bonded out. And you'll get posted your bond. You'll get a new court date in the mail. Okay. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Michael Newby.
Mr. Newby, you're charged with one count of trafficking marijuana. So I can't set bond on a trafficking charge. So bond is going to be denied at this point on a trafficking marijuana charge. You're going to have a bond hearing set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. You're going to have bond hearing is going to be set for June 25th at 8:30 in the morning. The preliminary hearing is going to be set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. Currently, these are being held by Zoom. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Michael Owens.
Okay, Mr. Owens, you're charged with one count of loitering or prowling and one count of theft by taking. Your bond is going to be set a total bond of $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Not sure of that.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Sure.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Abdul Sabu, sir.
I'm sorry, tell me your name again, sir.
Abdul Sabu.
Okay. Mr. Sabu, you charged with two counts of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, one count of possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime, one count of possession of a drug-related object, and one count of a window tint violation. You're gonna have a total bond set at $17,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
I'm not sure yet, Your Honor. But I believe so.
Okay.
Partner. Come on, next.
You're gonna have these are 3 felony offenses that you've been charged with. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, sir.
I'm sorry?
No, sir.
You're gonna hire your own lawyer?
I'm going to have one, yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back.
Pardon, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Parkman, sir, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 1 count of interference with government property, and 1 count of obstruction of an officer. I've set a total bond of $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You're gonna hire your own lawyer? Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is gonna be set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
I don't understand the charges. I don't understand how I criminally trespassed. I didn't criminally trespass anywhere.
Okay, so the allegation is at this address, 11205 Tara Boulevard, that you were told not to come back to the address, which is a BP gas station by the owner. And it says that the warning was issued in case number, it looks like 21026794. And it appears to say that you returned
No,
to this address.
I wasn't told not to come back there.
Okay,
I've never given any kind of paperwork or anything. So I could be charged with that. It's ridiculous.
okay. Well, that could be a defense, complete defense to this charge. Okay, but that's the allegation. That's the allegation. Okay. Do you have any other questions for me? Do you have any other questions for me, Mr.
Pardon, yes or no, ma'am?
Yes. And what was the other 2 charges again? You said,
Interference with government property and obstruction of an officer. Says when the officers arrived that you offered resistance to them. And that's where the felony comes from, and that you offered resistance and you guys are on the ground, rolling around. And the allegation is that you banged your head up against the car a couple times and dented the car. And that's the interference with government property charge.
Are we done here, John? We'll have to see this first. You good to go. Turn it up.
Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Parkman.
what was the 3rd charge?
All right, you good? Let's go, man.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Stevens? Mr. Stevens, you've been charged with 1 count of theft by deception. The bond has been set at $2,000. You believe you can post that bond? You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? All right, you're free to go back.
Jason Tyler,
Mr. Tyler, sir, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated stalking, 1 count of harassing phone calls, and 1 count of influencing a witness. Bond, I cannot set bond on an aggravated stalking charge. Bond is going to be denied on influencing a witness charge. And I'm setting down a bond for the misdemeanor harassing phone calls. There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond, stay away from Laura McKay. Do you understand that?
yes, sir. I was, well, see, sir, that's my house, that's where I live though, and I was staying with her. She was staying with me, and she has cancer, and she just went through cancer, and she recovered from that, so she didn't know exactly what was going on. It was the neighbor behind us, it had nothing to do with me. She's already stated that to the solicitor's office.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 23rd and a bond hearing date set for June 25th at both at 8:30 in the morning. Do you already have a lawyer from the previous charge?
Yeah, I'm supposed to have a court appointed lawyer, but I don't know who it is exactly yet.
The other charge was a misdemeanor, correct?
The other charge was a misdemeanor battery charge, I believe.
So the law firm that will be handling that charge is Lister and Holt. And you can call them if you haven't heard from them. But now these are felony charges. So you're going to get transferred to Superior Court, out of state court. So it'll be a whole different set of people. I'm going to find that you qualify just so that this gets forwarded to the right people. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir, I was homeless. That's the only property I had to stay at. All my belongings and everything's there, so
And the thing about the conditions are that they can be changed, but everything has to be done in the right way.
that's the
So
problem, my name and all that, so
I understand, and that's the whole thing with the battery stuff, is that it really doesn't matter whose property who owns the property. If a person was living there and they're the alleged victim of battery, they get to stay there. Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Tyler?
there's not a bond set for me at all.
I'm sorry.
There's no bond set for me at all.
No, I cannot. I cannot set a bond on aggravated stalking. My hands are tied. That's going to be something you're going to have to file a motion with the Superior Court. Okay.
You said what was the court date again?
The next court date will be June 23rd. The bond hearing date is June 25th. Okay. All right, you're free to go back.
Your Honor, this is Deputy Barker, real quick. Sergeant
Yes,
Riley, have you give him a call?
Who?
Sergeant Riley.
Okay, I'll step off and give him a call.
The reason for Olivier is refusing to come down. He's in medical hold still.
I saw. Hey, let me ask you this question. Is Mr. Washington there?
Yes, we got 3 more, Your Honor.
Okay, let me deal with Mr. Washington real quick.
You can finish, Your Honor. Just 3 more. Yeah, you can deal with them first.
Okay. Mr. Washington, sir, you're charged with 1 count of theft by shoplifting, 1 count of obstruction of an officer, and 1 count of use or possession of drug-related objects. You're gonna have a total bond set at $4,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Sorry.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back. Mr. Williams, sir, you're charged with 1 count of family violence battery, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 1 count of obstruction of an officer or obstructing an officer. You're gonna have a total bond set at $10,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
You can take it down to 7,000, so yes, I will be able to. Awesome.
So I'll reduce the bond on obstructing an officer down to 1,000. I don't feel comfortable reducing the bond on the false imprisonment and the family violence battery. So that'll give you $9,000 bond. There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Tierra Ford. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to find that you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions for me?
About the false imprisonment, how did they charge me with false imprisonment? He told me it was a misdemeanor, the officer did, but when I got to the jail, he said it was a felony.
Yeah, he's written it as a misdemeanor.
Because the only thing that happened was I locked the door.
Stop. Do not talk about the facts of your case. Talk about those with your lawyer, okay?
I got you.
Let's see. Give me 1 second.
I was gonna use my own paycheck to bond out with it. That's why I asked, could it be reduced to 7? Because I know I have at least $900 paycheck.
Okay, so Mr. Williams, the false imprisonment should be a felony, so that's going to change your preliminary hearing date to June 23rd.
So it changed to a felony?
No, it is a felony.
Oh, because he wrote it as a misdemeanor.
Right. There are some offenses like reckless conduct that could be a felony or a misdemeanor, or fleeing or eluding, depending on how depending on what happened. So false imprisonment, I just look, it does not have a misdemeanor component to it. So it's going to be a felony. So I have appointed a lawyer to represent you. And it's going to be the 23rd. So false imprisonment, it does not even require you to touch a person.
Yeah, I know.
So that's the whole thing of it. I don't know what happened. With things like this, you really should speak to your lawyer about it, because these cases have a lot of different detail to them.
Okay, so is it $9,000 plus the court fees and stuff?
Yes, sir.
So it's gonna equal up to 10,000 still?
I don't know.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wilson, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Wilson. Sir, you charge one count of following too closely and one count of driving under the influence. Bond is going to be set at $5,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, I'm gonna try, sir, I'm gonna try.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I'm gonna have a paid lawyer.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Hey, Your Honor, do you want us to lock? So are we, I think that's it, Your Honor, except for Olivia. Or Olivia.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna contact Sergeant Riley. Because what we could do is that if the person is in whatever state, if there's a cell phone that someone has, that all I need to do is be able to tell him
There was
what.
an incident just a second ago, and I'm sure Sergeant Riley's gonna tell you about it, inside the cell, not with him, within the cell that he's in. And that's
Okay.
the reason why we can go up in there.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna log off and then I will contact Sergeant Riley.
Okay.
Thank you for your assistance.